Charles Henry Mosley III was born on December 26, 1959 and died on November 9, 2017. He was an American singer-songwriter, who was best known as the frontman for Faith No More from 1984 to 1988. During his tenure with the band, they released 2 albums, We Care a Lot and Introduce Yourself. Mosley was born in Hollywood, California, but raised in south-central Los Angeles and Venice. He was adopted at a very early age, as talked about in the Faith No More biography book, The Real Story. Coincidentally, both his biological parents and his adopted parents had the same ethnic backgrounds. In a 2013 interview, Mosley said his adopted parents met at some kind of socialist, communist get-together in the 50s. They were interracial. My mom was Jewish and my dad was black and Native American. So that was something controversial in itself. My dad had a daughter and my mom had 2 daughters, and all they were missing was a boy, so they went out and adopted one, and it was me. Mosley first met Billy Gould in 1977, going to The Zeros, Johnny Novotny and Bags show. He then went on to play keyboards in Billy's first band, The Animated, in 1979. In 1984 he joined Haircuts That Kill, a post-punk band from the San Francisco area, which lasted up until Mosley's joining of Faith No More. He joined Faith No More in 1985, replacing, among others, Courtney Love, Hole, who had a brief stint as lead singer. AllMusic states that Mosley's out-of-tune vocals for Faith No More are an acquired taste to most. By 1987, Faith No More were gaining mainstream traction, signing with the major label Slash Records, Warner Music Group, and touring with prominent acts such as Red Hot Chili Peppers. According to Billy Gould, they started to consider firing Mosley during a tour of Europe in 1988, where his behavior had become increasingly erratic. Incidents include Mosley allegedly punching Gould on stage and one of Mosley's roadies getting into a fist fight with guitarist Jim Martin. Gould stated, "By the time that happened, Chuck was already kind of out of it for me. I guess Jim and the roadie had been drinking and they got in a fight. It came a point where Jim was our guitar player, and he broke his hand fighting the guy. It's the first night of our European tour, and somebody had to go. It obviously wasn't going to be our guitar player. Chuck took it very personally, sticking up for this roadie." Mosley was eventually fired after the band returned home from Europe. Billy Gould reflected, "There was a certain point when I went to rehearsal, and Chuck wanted to do all acoustic guitar songs. It was just so far off the mark. The upshot was that I got up, walked out and quit the band. I just said, I'm done, I can't take this any longer. It's just so ridiculous." The same day, I talked to Bordin, and he said, "Well, I still want to play with you." Bottom did the same thing. It was another one of these firing somebody without firing them scenarios. In 1990, Mosley began a stint as lead singer in the revered hardcore punk band Bad Brains. He performed at nearly 60 shows in the United States and Europe before leaving the band in January 1992. Mosley went on to form a new funk metal band, Cement. They released 2 albums, Cement and Man with the Action Hair. Both albums were distributed by Dutch East India Trading, United States, and Rough Trade, Europe. The band toured both locations promoting their music. During the first week of what was to be a year-long tour for Man with the Action Hair, the band's driver fell asleep at the wheel, causing a major accident. Mosley spent a year recovering from a broken back. The tour was cancelled, and the band was subsequently shelved. Mosley relocated to Cleveland, Ohio in March 1996, where he spent several years writing and compiling new material while raising his 2 daughters, and working as a chef in various restaurants. In fall 2015, Mosley had a non-fiction short story about the writing and recording of the Faith No More track Mark Bowen published in an anthology titled A Matter of Words. Mosley died on November 9, 2017 at 57 years old.